Imagine your emotional skin is not skin at all. Imagine it is a network of raw, exposed nerve endings. For most people, a casual comment or a bit of feedback is like a gentle breeze. But for you, that same breeze feels like a razor blade. A friend cancels plans, and it doesn't just sting. It feels like a profound, personal abandonment. A boss gives you mild, constructive criticism, and you spend the next 3 days in a spiral of shame, feeling like a complete failure. A partner gives you a slightly disapproving look, and it feels like a physical punch to the gut. If you know this feeling, you know the deep, secret shame that comes with it. You ask yourself, why am I like this? Why can't I just have a thicker skin? Why am I so dramatic? You see the world moving on, seemingly unaffected by the things that completely shatter you. And you start to believe that there is something fundamentally broken inside of you. Today, we are going to give a name to this invisible injury. And we are going to understand that what you are experiencing is not a character flaw. It is not you being dramatic. It is a real, and often excruciating, neurological experience. It is called rejection sensitive dysphoria. Let's break that down. Rejection sensitive. This means you have an extreme, intense sensitivity to perceived rejection, criticism, teasing, or even your own sense of failure. Dysphoria. This isn't just sadness. The word comes from Greek, and it means difficult to bear. It is a profound and almost unbearable state of emotional pain. So, rejection sensitive dysphoria, or RSD, is an extreme emotional pain that is triggered by the perception of being rejected or criticized. And here is the most important thing you need to hear. This is not all in your head. It is very much in your brain. Neurological studies, using brain scans, have shown us something remarkable. The parts of the brain that light up when you experience physical pain are the exact same parts that light up when you experience social rejection. Your brain literally processes emotional pain and physical pain in the same areas. For a person with RSD, that signal is amplified. The emotional volume dial is turned all the way up to 10, and the brakes are gone. What feels like a small emotional paper cut to someone else feels like a catastrophic, life-threatening wound to your nervous system. The pain you feel is real. It is biological. It is not an overreaction. It is your genuine neurological reaction. So where does this come from? While it can affect anyone, RSD is extremely common in people with ADHD. The nervous systems of people with ADHD are wired differently. Their emotional regulation system works differently. They feel emotions more intensely, and they have a harder time applying the brakes to slow down an emotional response. So when a feeling of rejection hits, it accelerates from 0 to 100 with terrifying speed, and there's very little in the brain's hardware to stop it. The other major root of RSD is trauma, especially from childhood. If you grew up in an environment where you were constantly criticized, where love and safety were conditional upon you being good or perfect, you learned a powerful lesson. Criticism equals the withdrawal of love. Rejection equals abandonment. For a child, abandonment is a survival threat. So now, as an adult, any perceived criticism doesn't just hurt your feelings. It triggers that primal, life-or-death fear of being cast out and left alone. Your adult brain knows you'll be okay, but the terrified child inside is having a full-blown survival panic. And because living with these exposed nerve endings is so painful, people with RSD develop brilliant and exhausting coping mechanisms. You might become the ultimate people-pleaser. This is the fawn trauma response in action. You become a master at anticipating the needs of others. You become a chameleon, changing yourself to be whatever you think the other person wants you to be. Your entire life becomes a performance designed to earn approval and to preemptively avoid any possibility of criticism. Or, you might become a perfectionist. You decide, subconsciously, that if you can just be flawless, if you can get the perfect grades, have the perfect career, be the perfect partner, then you can make yourself immune to criticism. It is a desperate and impossible attempt to build a suit of armor out of your own achievements. And for some, the strategy is to reject others first. If rejection is inevitable, you will be the one to do it. You push people away, you end relationships, you avoid social situations to protect yourself from the unbearable pain of ever being on the receiving end again. So how do we begin to soothe these exposed nerves? The answer is not to toughen up. That's like telling someone with a third-degree burn to just have a thicker skin. It's impossible and cruel. The journey is one of regulation and profound self-compassion. The first step is a life-changing one. Name it to tame it. Simply knowing that rejection sensitive dysphoria is a real neurological thing can be incredibly validating. The next time you are in that spiral of pain, you can name it. This is not me. This is not my fault. This is my RSD being triggered. This act of naming separates you from the experience and drastically reduces the shame. The second step is to externalize your validation. Because your internal sense of worth can be so easily and completely destabilized by a single comment, it is crucial to have external, objective proof of your value. Create what some people call a brag file or a smile file. A folder on your phone or computer where you save every kind email, every loving text message, every piece of positive feedback, every compliment you've ever received. When you are in the depths of an RSD spiral, and your brain is telling you that you are a worthless failure, open the folder. Read the evidence. It is an anchor to a different, truer reality. The third step is to practice the sacred pause. RSD is an instantaneous, reflexive reaction. The healing happens in creating a tiny space of a few seconds between the trigger and your emotional collapse. The moment you perceive the rejection, before you react, breathe. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. This small act can be enough to keep your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain, online. It gives you a moment to ask, is there another way to interpret this? And finally, you must learn to separate the what from the who. This is the practice of depersonalizing feedback. The criticism might be about what you did, a mistake in a report, for example. It is not an indictment of who you are, a terrible, worthless person. You are learning to see feedback as data, not as a verdict on your soul. You do not lack a thick skin. Your nervous system is a finely tuned, high-fidelity instrument. It perceives social and emotional data with an intensity that most people cannot even imagine. This sensitivity is not your enemy. The journey is about becoming the kind, compassionate, and skilled musician who can play this beautiful, intense instrument without being completely overwhelmed by the power of its sound. If this video was helpful for you, please show your support by clicking the like button. To continue this journey of healing, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. And if you know someone who feels things this deeply, please share this video. It might be the first time they've ever felt truly seen and understood. Thank you for watching. Your sensitivity is not a flaw.